It's Good evening. こんばんは。皆さん、元気ですか？ Is everyone doing alright? また来ました。どうも、どうも、どうも、どうも、元気ですよ。こんばんは。Hello, Cookie Gun, Dottie, the Ultim Alpha, Light, Yagami, Anime no Sekai, Breezy Craft, Aaron Lee, Aranatsu, All Things Anime, Amy Andrews, Danielle, Dalao, Luna, Cookie Gun. Did I already say Cookie Gun? I think I already said Cookie Gun, but you got your name read out twice. Breezy Craft, Casper Bar, Soft Vlogs. Rekken is my husband. 83 seconds late. Unlucky. Mystic Flare. Right. こんばんは。今日は最初は耳を温めようか。To start things off, how about we get our ears nice and warm?お耳いかがですか？Is there a storm? Can you hear the rain? That's not real rain. That's just part of the background music. 日本語の名前なんて言うんですか？名前教えちゃうとあれですね。俺にとってちょっとやばいかもしれないから、日本語でレッケンってレッケンくんでもいいよ。レッケンさんはちょっと硬いからレッケンくんでいいよ。This is my first time I've been to your live stream. Well, welcome, Stephanie. Welcome. I saw your comment in Frozen 2. I got a lot of likes on that comment, by the way. If you guys haven't seen the Frozen 2 trailer, you should go take a look. Go look at the top comments, and I'll probably be there. Sorry, hold on. I don't speak Dragon Ball. Hey, Yuji. Elena Beatons Sayang, or is it Sayang? No Discord notification. Rats, you're right. I'm sorry about that. I kind of had to rush myself to get to the 12:30 mark tonight. Because I got home like 10 minutes ago, so I'm sorry about that. No Discord announcement, I'm sorry, like I just said. I was a bit rushed tonight. Ryan Williams, hey there. Nice to see you back. Isabella, I made your day better. That's good to hear. Te amo. Español. Yo hablo solo un poco español, pero yo sé que te amo. Yo sé que es te amo. Te amo. Te quiero. Te quiero. Oui, oui, baguette. Stella Van Story. Hi there. Te adoro. Gracias. Hey there, Sorix. Nice to see you back. Je t'aime. Je t'aime, Je t'aime, Elena. Yeehaw. It's Saturday. Yeah. It's hard work holding you up. Grazie. Grazie, Italian. Or maybe atatakai desu ka? Mozo mozo shimasu ka? O miso made kiitemasu ka? Atakai te kanji shimasu ka? What is I love you in Japanese? Nice.指先が超冷たいんだけど指先が超冷たいんだけど My fingertips are really freaking cold. Also, my nose is cold, and therefore I need to blow it a little bit. Try doing some Bob Ross. So what we're gonna do is get some of our pelt green here, a little bit of our YouTube comment section black. We're gonna mix it in nice and slowly. Let those colors get to know each other a little bit. Then we're gonna just, no, that's not a brush sound. We're just gonna brush that on nice and dabby. We're gonna find ourselves a tree friend in the wilderness here. Maybe he's up on a hill. Maybe he has some friends, some bush friends. I don't know. I'm not a very good Bob Ross. I'm sorry. Wild Velt Q. Hi there. Sorry for the creaky chair. Zankin. Hi. Do an extra deep voice. What is there to be accomplished by doing an extra deep voice? Maria, hello there. Sing something. Sing something. Can you growl? Can you growl? Kind of. I don't know if that counts as growling. Growl. Jojo da. Jojo da. Is Rekken your real name? Nope. And, well, I guess I can say well, I don't know. I don't know how many of you are, crazy fanatics that would dig up my personal info if I told you my first name. Maybe not that crazy. My first name is Kosa. That's all the info I'm giving out tonight. Would you speak Japanese? いいよ。日本語で話してほしい。何のこと話そうかな。こうさ。日本語の発音はこうさ。でも書き方を教えちゃうとちょっとあれだから。空想ちゃうよ。空想じゃなくてこうさこうさこうさっていう名前です。何の話しなくてもいいよ。あ、そう。もう普通にダラダラ話しちゃってもいいって感じかな。I wonder if Rekken can sing Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't want to try. まだまだ。I think you had given your name away when you posted your Instagram story. Oh, really? I mean, I'm not trying to, like, you know, hide it altogether. It's just saying it to an audience, waiting for my every word and every move. Ouch. お前はもう死んでいる。Shawn Mendes, you guys really love Shawn Mendes, don't you? I honestly don't know how this song goes except for the chorus. Oh, I've been shaking. I love it when you go crazy. You take all my inhibitions, baby. There's nothing holding me back. You take me places that tear up my reputation, manipulate my decisions, baby. There's nothing holding me back. There's nothing holding me back. There's nothing holding me back except for my cold ass throat. Hey, why did my background go down? Shaggy's voice versus Rekken voice. Like, there's nothing I can do about a cold throat, you know what I'm saying, man? Except I do have a warm drink that I'm trying to use as my cure for that. But that's me. That's Shaggy. Go drink tea. It's a hot lemon drink. It's just as good as tea. Can we hit 100 OOs? I bet you're gonna go to the bathroom before the live ends. You might be right. Or I planned ahead and went to the bathroom before streaming. Oh. So what can I do today? I was thinking that I'd try to read a little bit more. For those of you who were here the last time that I read from a passage of Game of Thrones, I was thinking of doing that again for a little bit. Or he's in the bathroom right now. He secretly rolls in the bathroom. Are you mixed Japanese? Yes. I'm half Japanese and half Caucasian. Half white. Oh yes. I'll do some like regular tingles before I get to the reading. Am I able to put this here? Oh, I am. Alright. In 5 minutes, we're gonna hear a flushing noise. Doubtful. Maybe another book? Want me to read something different? I could read something different. I think you have really nice hands. Oh no. Oh no. I mean, thank you. I'm always unsure of what I'm supposed to do with my hands in pictures, so I assume you're referring to my Instagram. but I don't I don't really like thinking about my hands very much. 日本語話して。日本語で話してほしい。ちょっと日本語で話そうか。じゃあ。ちょっと日本語で話すよ。 You should read one of the short stories by Edgar Allan Poe. That sounds not very relaxing. That sounds less relaxing, more anxiety-inducing. It's a struggle catching your live streams, I know. I stream at a really awkward time for most of my viewers. I'm very sorry about that. It's the only it's the only time I can stream though, unfortunately. No, thanks, D. Glad you could make it. 来てくれてありがたいよ、D さん。I'm in the process of learning Japanese, by the way. 日本語を学んでる途中なんだけど、結構面白いんだね。そうだね。Oh my god. No, don't go and check my Insta for just my hands, please. I don't need I don't need that on my conscience that people are going looking at my hands. I haven't gotten head pats in a while. You're right. You're right. What's his Instagram? Gee, I wonder. Rekken, are you a gamer? I don't know if that's a serious question or not, but yeah, I'm a gamer. Where do you live? Obviously for research. I live in Tokyo. Why other half Japanese look 100% more Japanese than me? I don't know. Was your mom or your dad Japanese? Because my dad was Japanese. So, if guys take after their dads more, then I took after my Japanese father a bit more than I did my white mother. Will you all please stop? No. Stop looking at my Insta. So, dude, did you manage to get a Valentine? That information will not be disclosed at this time. Maybe. Can you be my Valentine? Sure. Maybe next year, because it's already passed, but... I hate Valentine's. Valentine's is pretty dumb. It's like, here, do you have a partner? You should love that person. It's like, no, you should love that person every day of the year. And if you're alone, then love yourself. Nothing wrong with treating yourself. Treat yourself. こんばんは。ライブ初見さん。違う。ガブモモさん。こんばんは。Treat yourself. Todd Haverford. Billionaire? Check. Brilliant ideas? Check. Loving myself? Check. Treat yourself? Ballin'. Or wait, it's not Todd Haverford, it's Tom Haverford. I'm so... You didn't hear that. So accurate. If anyone watches Parks and Rec, I guess Parks and Rec don't understand the reference. I think I have a fever. Uh-oh. Make sure we get lots of water. And rest. And lots of rest. How about you do a deep, sexy voice? Is this voice easier, or is use easier? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm using my voice, and you uses her voice. I don't know what you mean by easier. I guess you does, like, try to, like, or, like, make her voice a bit higher, like, consciously, but, so maybe it's easier for me to do my normal voice. Excuse me. What time is it there? It is 1 o'clock. I'll give head pats a little later. Low-key though, guys, you uploaded a ear massage video last night. Pretty nice. This isn't a book, this is like styrofoam. It's like a styrofoam pad. Does you and Rekken perform ASMR for each other at night? Wouldn't that be the dream? Unfortunately, no, she conserves all of her energy for her actual ASMR. Can you meow? Meow. If you guys want to give me just a second, I'm going to try to look something up. Enjoy my desktop background for a little bit. Where would it be? Here? Oh, I do have it saved here. Okay. This has potential to be very cringy, but if you guys want, here, we're gonna vote on it. So, you know how, okay, so I said I was gonna read. Well, I can read the prologue and chapter 1 of my Albus Potter. I don't like calling it fanfic because fanfic sounds or has a negative connotation to it associated with raunchiness, but it is my interpretation of what would have happened to Albus after or directly after the Deathly Hallows. If you would like to hear what I wrote, this was a while back that I wrote this, by the way, so it might be cringy, we don't know. And say yes. It is Harry Potter related, so if you don't like Harry Potter, maybe this isn't your thing. But if you don't like this kind of thing, just kind of tune out the details. Yes, okay. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Okay, I'm gonna put up my thing again. Oh boy. Oh man, this has potential to be very cringy, but you guys are gonna have to bear with me, okay? Should I read it in like a voice? I wrote fanfiction. Okay, it's not fanfiction. I don't like calling it fanfiction. Alright. Nah, just read it normally. Okay. So the potential finished product would be called Albus Potter and the Slytherin. Prologue. Catch me if you can, slowpoke. Give it back, James. James! In the quaint greenhouse, with a slightly misshapen roof on the corner of Godric's Hollow, a desperate and pleading voice belonging to a boy with untidy jet-black hair bellowed after a taller, older boy with curly auburn hair around the house. The latter was waving around what appeared at first glance to be a stick, which might make you wonder, what does it matter that this older boy has a stick? Just find another one. Well, you see, the stick isn't just any ordinary stick. It is a wand. An 11-inch elder wood wand with a dragon heartstring core, to be exact. And this wand has chosen the small, untidy jet black-haired boy to be its wizard. How very strange, you may add, not understanding quite what it means for a wand to choose a wizard. Even those who study wand lore do not know the minute details. But what's important is, right now, the wand is in possession of James, the older brother of this black-haired wizard. It all doesn't make much sense, wands and wizards and such, but to the family of 5 that lives in this quaint greenhouse, it all does make perfect sense. The little boy chasing his brother within the confines of the house is Albus, a soon-to-be first year at the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Hogwarts, the wizarding school of Britain, and one of the greatest in the world. His father is Harry Potter, a famous wizard of the current age renowned for bringing down the most evil sorcerer to date, Lord Voldemort, who broke havoc on people's lives, muggles, non-magical folk who know nothing of the existence of magic, and wizards alike, for generations. Albus was chasing his older brother James, because the need for his wand he had acquired not a fortnight before had never been greater, because this very morning, the little Potter family was to drive their blue Ford Angela down to King's Cross Station, and there, at platform 9 3/4, awaited the crimson-colored Hogwarts Express. James, I'm warning you. Give it back, or you'll what, Al? You don't even know any spells yet. You should be a bit more careful with your empty threats, Al. Maybe I'll hex you. James stopped short, for he had just run head smack into his mother, standing at the bottom of the stairwell. What have you got there, James? Nothing. And as quick as he could, James tried to drop the wand to his side, but his mother's lightning-quick reflexes from years of professional Quidditch enabled her to snatch the wand out of his grasp before it even fell past his waist. And whose might this be? Mine, James said, smiling with as much confidence as he could muster. Maybe one day you'll learn your father and I aren't trolls. This is an elderwood wand. Give this back to your brother, or I'll go to Hogwarts with you, holding your hand, of course, and I will kiss you all over your cute little face right in the middle of the Great Hall before you could say, but mother. Now go finish packing if you know what's good for you. Mumbling something indistinct along the lines of killjoy, James turned around, handed Albus his wand without meeting his eyes, and skipped up the stairs 2 at a time back to his bedroom. Ginny turned her gaze to Albus. Is there a reason James took your wand this time? I told him I'd hex him if he said one more time that I'd be in Slytherin, said Albus defiantly. I'd recommend the Bat Bogey hex. Extremely effective, Ginny said, gazing nostalgically past Albus, and added, Al, don't let him get to you. Your brother was just as worried when he was first starting. In fact, he cried in our bedroom the night before leaving for Hogwarts about how he wasn't going to be brave enough to be a Gryffindor, and that he didn't want to go at all. In the end, he got into Gryffindor, so don't worry about it too much, Al. Your father and I support any house you're placed into, even if it's Slytherin. Albus's mother smiled and winked again, turning to the kitchen to finish fixing breakfast. The Potter family ate swiftly, not saying much to each other, with the occasional exception of pass the marmalade or salt, please. After a hasty last-minute check for school supplies, they clambered out into their driveway to load the 2 boys' massive school chests into the small trunk of the car. Of course, under normal circumstance, the chests would not have fit into the trunk, so magical enlargement was necessary. The family then scrambled into the car and was almost ready to drive off, when a small knock was heard on the side of the car. Albus, since the knock had come from his side, opened the door, and there stood a little house elf with small puffs of white cottony hair on the top of his head and protruding from his ears. "It would appear Master Albus's cat has come back from its outing just in time," croaked the house elf. "Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Thanks a ton, creature." Relieving the little elf of the massive black tomcat, "I owe you one." With a slightly sad-looking smile, Creature the old house elf bowed and bade Albus's family a safe drive to the train station. The cat paused to examine Creature through the window, and then settled down onto Owl's lap for a quick rest. The journey did not take long, due to a phenomenon that caused every traffic light the blue Ford Angela approached to turn green, allowing the Potters non-stop access through the streets. The family arrived at the station and parked by a conveniently open spot by the entrance. They unloaded the car of 2 trunks, 1 broomstick, 1 owl cage, and an assortment of other boxes. Owl's father proceeded to get 2 trolleys for the boys, and once they were all packed and ready, they were soon walking through the crisp, golden September day towards the noisy, sooty, and bustling station. A redhead girl clung to Harry with tears in her eyes. "It won't be long, and you'll be able to go too. Don't worry." 2 more years, the little girl whimpered. "I want to go now." Albus looked over at his brother, who wore a smug smile, for they were approaching the barrier between platforms 9 and 10, which concealed the platform from which witches and wizards got onto the Hogwarts Express. When the family approached the barrier, they casually waited by it, and lingered by until passerby would not notice them vanish into the wall. Albus waited, and at the right moment, leaned through the barrier. End of prologue. I wasn't able to read too many comments while I was reading that, because obviously I had to focus on reading that, but, thoughts on the prologue? I could go on to chapter 1 if you guys want. I am a huge Harry Potter nerd, by the way. It's good. It is. That was a really good story. J.K. Rowling be shaking. I tried my best. So, for those of you who, have all read the English version, I don't think anyone hasn't read the English version here. Maybe a couple people haven't, but for those of you who have read the English version, I've tried my best to replicate Rowling's style. So I'm hoping that comes across, Albus so cute. Okay. Well, I guess we'll read chapter 1, eh? Excuse me. Okay. Did you upload this somewhere? No, I did not. This is something that is for me, or it's like a personal thing, but I write in it every once in a while. Okay, chapter 1. The Boy in the Compartment. Albus waved to the figures he could now barely see, gliding away into the distance away from him. Sadness swiftly enveloped him, knowing he would not see them for months. But then, remembering where he was going, after all this time waiting and dreaming, Albus grinned and was just as quickly filled with excitement instead. He set off through the packed train corridor. Al pushed past clumps of older-looking students who were all still gossiping about their summers, and squeezed through a gang of girls who appeared to be deciding how they would cram their entire group into one compartment. Excuse me. As Albus approached the end of the corridor, a girl with lengthy, slightly bushy auburn hair came running toward him. "Sorry," the girl panted. got stuck back there, pointing at the gang of girls Albus had also just managed to get past. This girl's name is Rose, and is Albus's cousin. For most of the summer, and many years previously, Rose and Albus had discussed what sorts of wonders awaited them, because his parents, uncles, and aunts had all refused to tell them, what Hogwarts was like. His Uncle Ron was the only one who leaked the slightest hints of information. Like nothing you'd ever dream of, Albus remembered him saying. The most wonderful place in the world, and they've got excellent chicken at the feasts. How about this one? Rose said, pointing at the second-to-last compartment. It was empty, for what Albus could see, with the exception of a lone blonde boy who was sitting by the window. Albus knocked on the window of the compartment door and slid it open slightly. Do you mind if we join you? Albus asked. The blonde boy looked up and shook his head. Don't mind at all, he said, with a small smile. Albus and Rose stepped in and sat down opposite the boy, who put his head back up against the window and looked out into the changing scenery which was now the countryside instead of the busy, bustling city of London. Albus's cat, Naona, who had been in his owner's clutches this whole time, bounded out of Albus's arms and pounced softly onto Rose's lap, stretching out and yawning before lying down for another quick nap. Now that Albus was at this angle, he could see the features of the blond boy more clearly. He wasn't skinny, but he had a slim figure, with a pointed chin and an angled jaw. His cheekbones stood high on his face, and he had fair skin with light blue eyes that seemed to be misty and clouded. Albus opened his mouth and closed it. He looked over at Rose, who simply shrugged. He chanced an introduction. Hi, I'm Albus. Albus Potter. The blond boy's eyes turned away from the window with his eyebrows raised, apparently rather taken aback by being spoken to. Oh, hi. I'm Scorpius. Scorpius stopped talking, his angled cheekbones flushing. He then detached his jaw from his supporting hand and turned his whole body to face Albus. Anyway, you're a Potter? As in Harry Potter's son? This time, it was Albus's turn to blush. He found it bizarre, and just a tad irritating, that everyone knew who his father was. Yeah, but anyway, this is Rose. Hi, Rose said with enthusiasm, holding out a hand. Scorpius looked questioningly at her hand, but perhaps thought that it would be rather rude not to take it, so shook it briskly and turned back to the window. Albus turned to Rose with raised eyebrows, and Rose shrugged again in return. Hastily, to break the silence, they began talking about what Quidditch would be like at school. They had grown up knowing that Albus's mother used to be an excellent chaser for the Holyhead Harpies, and that his father had joined his house team when he was a first year. He was the first one in nearly a century, Uncle Ron had always said. They had, of course, flown on brooms on many occasions, Albus always outflying Rose significantly, but had never played in a real game, let alone a full-fledged match with 14 players. As they chattered, time went by, and the light shining in through the window grew dimmer. Naona stretched and pounced off of Rose's lap and onto Al's, looking out into the darkening fields. Eventually, when the subjects of Quidditch and probable classes ran short, the food trolley came by, and Rose and Albus each ordered a healthy stack of cakes and sweets. Scorpius bought nothing. Albus frowned, as he had heard, and could still hear the rumbling of Scorpius' stomach. Aren't you hungry? Albus asked. No, said Scorpius, looking up. I'm fine. There was another growl. Here. He handed Scorpius a cauldron cake, and after hesitating briefly, Scorpius took it. Thanks. And with no additional fuss, Scorpius ate the cake hungrily. When he emerged, he almost looked slightly less pale. What's that you said about the cannons earlier? Scorpius asked with a small grin, hiccuping. What, that the Thran and Copeland duo are probably going to win them the cup this year? Albus asked. Yeah, that. Fat chance, smirked Scorpius. And with that, Albus, Scorpius, and Rose dove back into a heated argument regarding the top-performing Quidditch players and teams this season, as if Scorpius had been involved the whole time. The fading light eventually evolved into complete darkness, and the shuffling in next-door compartments suggested that people were changing into their school robes. "We're probably getting close," Rose said, looking out the window, her face pressed against the glass, and leaning over Albus and Naona. "Yeah," Albus said, pushing down Rose. "I guess we better change too." Soon, the train started to slow, and the scenery outside of their window was no longer the rising and falling hills of the countryside, but dense woods and high mountains, near and far. As the slowing train eventually came to a stop, the three kids in the second-to-last compartment got to their feet. Naona, who had to hop off of Al, gave a rather disapproving growl, and opened the door, stepping out into the rapidly filling corridor. After some hustle and bustle, which included much pushing and groaning and hissing, they leapt off of the Hogwarts Express and walked with the clambering crowd until Albus heard a familiar voice call out, First years this way." The shouting man was Hagrid, a half-giant who stood at the height of 2 men, and 3 men wide, sporting a very bushy, black and grey beard, and wearing a moleskin coat making him appear larger than he already was. He seems menacing at first glance, but Albus knows him to be very kind-natured and soft-spoken, and an old family friend, which allowed him to approach Hagrid with a wide grin. "Hey, Hagrid." "Al, how are you?" "Fine, I suppose," said Albus, still grinning from ear to ear. "And Rosie, you?" "Fantastic," sang Rose. Good to hear it. Now, everyone, leave your luggage, owls, toads, cats, etc. over there," pointing to a giant oak tree with a worn sign that once must have written, "Belongings. The staff will be taking them directly to your dormitories." The first years bustled over, most of them looking intimidated by the gruff-looking half-giant, but Al smiled casually and placed his trunk by one of the large knotted roots of the tree. "Naona, stay with my trunk, all right? I'll see you after the feast tonight." Al placed Naona onto his trunk, who, looking slightly confused, hopped down and wrapped herself around Al's feet, meowing. "No, stay with the trunk, Naona." Again, Al placed her up on the trunk, and she blinked at him, seemingly understanding this time, and began licking her paws. Albus hurried back over to Hagrid, where Rose was already set to go. "You're all ready? Right then, follow me," Hagrid said, gesturing to the large knot of students hiding behind Albus and Rose. "'Cause we're not taking the carriages. We'll be getting to the castle by boat." Hagrid turned on his heels and marched the group towards what looked like a lake. However, a large cliff next to them was obscuring the view of the castle, making Albus quiver with anticipation. Next to him, Rose was nearly skipping. On his other side was Scorpius, his shoulders slightly hunched and looking anxious. "Just round the corner now," said Hagrid, beaming. "Brace yourselves." And immediately, when turning the corner, cries of astonishment filled the air. "Wow! Brilliant! Would you look at that?" Exclaims continued as the castle came into view more clearly. Upon a high mountain, higher than all those surrounding it, was a vast castle spread over the apex, with many turrets and towers jetting up into the sky. A golden glow gleamed from the many windows all across Hogwarts, and Albus could tell from the warm radiance that it would be everything he had dreamt would be. "Well, what are you waiting for? Hop on the boats and you'll be there in no time." Albus climbed into a boat with Rose in the lead and Scorpius following him up the rear, and waiting for everyone else to follow suit. Soon, after much stumbling, splashing, and rocking, all of the soon-to-be first-year students were spread out into dozens of different boats, not including a boat that was just for Hagrid, seemingly magically enforced to accommodate his enormous figure. With a mighty "forward" bellowed from Hagrid, all of the boats started to glide forward over the lake. "Wow!" Rose exclaimed. The word rippled throughout all the other kids in all the other boats, unlike the water beneath them. Albus noted that their boats made no waves or ripples on the black surface, and that the glassy lake was eerie, yet intriguing. The castle grew larger as they approached it, and various details were now visible to Albus, who drank in the scenery with mounting excitement. The greatest sets of windows were centered on one of the lower portions of the castle, which emitted a brilliant light that illuminated the surrounding walls and reflected off the lake. A tall tower that stood high above the rest had no point, seemingly opening up to the starry sky above. The castle also seemed broken in several places, possibly due to dark magic that had affected it during the Battle of Hogwarts, the battle his parents, aunts, and uncles had fought in. This made Albus even more awed. The fleet of boats approached an arc of stone, which again completely blocked the view of the school. As if being awoken by getting his head plunged into cold water, Albus recovered his senses and realized with a stab of pain in his stomach at how hungry he was. Clutching his abdomen and cursing himself for not saving some of the cauldron cakes for now, Albus waited impatiently for the rest of the ride across the lake to finish. The boats floated in toward a building that Albus took to be the boathouse, and they all came to a stop by the docks under the roof. Hagrid got out first and helped out all of the students from the boats in turn, only dropping one of the students into the black lake in the process. While spluttering apologies and pulling up the shaking boy out of the water, Hagrid told the first years to start heading up the steps outside the boathouse. Albus took the lead with Rose behind him, and Scorpius trotting along in their wake, whose hands were deep in his pockets and his eyebrows furrowed. "Are you okay?" Albus asked in a whisper. "Yeah, just, nervous about the sorting, I guess," Scorpion said, looking at the ground. It hit Albus with a crushing blow, and almost all of the excitement of the past half hour was swept clean away from him. The sorting. He had completely forgotten about it. Uh-oh, I lost it. Oh. On the way to the train station, with James pestering him about joining Slytherin, it had almost been impossible to forget. Of course, his father had reassured him that if he chose to, he could tell the Hat not to put him in Slytherin, that it would make all the difference. But being separated from James on the train seemed to have completely wiped the matter from his mind, and now he was once again in deep anticipation of the sorting ahead. With now both of their eyebrows furrowed, Scorpius and Albus led the group of hungry, nervous, or otherwise wet first graders further up the steps to which Hagrid had beckoned. "Here we go," said Hagrid, from behind them a few seconds later, carrying the boy who had fallen into the water. "Just a little bit more." But a little bit more must have been different for Hagrid, because it took more than another quarter of an hour to reach what appeared to be the front gates of the castle, by which time everyone was in a steady pant from the steep climb of the stairs. "Right, well, this is it. Hope you're excited," Hagrid said, beaming at all of them. Then with a wink at Albus and Rose, he raised an enormous fist the size of a dustbin and knocked 3 heavy blows on the door. That's the end of chapter 1. And that's also where I'm gonna stop the reading for now. Oh wow, that took longer than I thought it would. How many chapters is there? What I have written, there's about 4. Chapter 2, please. But I haven't really gone back and checked to see if it's like able to be shared, because again, I wrote this a couple years ago, and like I said, there's potential for it to be cringy as heck, so Hmm. Okay. No, thank you. No. I do like writing. I've always liked writing all kinds of stuff. And I love Harry Potter, so I've read the books so many times. And it just didn't satisfy me that that Albus's story was never explored. I want to be a writer. Oh, that's nice. You just gotta work on it a little bit every day. Can I have some ear rubs? Sure. How about we do a quick 5-minute ear rub into another 5 minutes or so of head pats? How about that? Sound good? What's your favorite book from the Harry Potter series? Probably the Order of the Phoenix. I think I like the Order of the Phoenix best. I wish my chair was not this chair. What else do you write? I like writing sci-fi stuff. I like writing fantasy as well, like a lot of other fantasy stuff. Quick question, are you enjoying your life right now? Yeah, I'm enjoying my life right now. I'm just taking it easy, honestly. I'll probably try to make myself a lot busier in the next few months, because I really do want to make it a reality where I can, make YouTube my career, at least for a couple years. I'm sorry. I was dreaming of me normally watching a live stream. I was confused. That's kind of fun. Do you post your work anywhere? No. I do not. But I might start posting in Discord or something. If you guys want, I can post some of the stuff that I've written. The good and the bad. provisional driver's license. Hey. Congratulations. Jesus. My wrist is messed up. What the heck? Maybe it's cold outside. He's 3 years a large age gap. Not this again. Listen. Ruined. Immersion ruined. What do you mean, ow? It wasn't even that loud. It was just... What do you mean? I'm so sorry. That wasn't even a mouth fart. That was like my throat just deciding that it was gonna let out a mouth. Jesus, I'm so sorry. Literally has to happen every stream. Moans. What counts as a moan? Like, it doesn't have to be sexual, right? It's just like... Any moan is sexual. Oops. Oh shoot, wait. That was way longer than 5 minutes. Hold on, I need to go get my equipment for the headpads. Just a second. Jiminy Cricket. I didn't go to the bathroom. Did not go to the bathroom. You will not have me, sir. What you will have is headpads. Good night, Damien. 2 more hours before you can end the stream. Hmm? Can you say we've been a good kitty? The only reason you're getting headbands right now is because you've been a good kitty. Good kitty. Say something flirty. Well, if we're going with the theme. So, kitty, are you satisfied with just headbands? Or are you thinking we could get a bit more hands-on? Flirty, seductive, same thing. They're both just ways of trying to get you and me together. I am a Slytherin and a Gryffindor. I am both because I took the Pottermore quiz 6 times, and I got placed 3 each. When my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell. It's down at the end of the lonely street, Heartbreak Hotel with lights in. I feel so lonely, baby. I'm feeling so lonely. I'm feeling so lonely, I could die. Don't have to be rich to rule my world. Don't have to be poor. I just need your extra time. Too fast. What's the safe word? Rekken Dom is merged. Okay, this is gonna get really kinky for a second. Was anyone else taking the BDM test before? I've gotten like 90% Dom or something like that, and like a 1% sub. Ooh. No. I mean, like, okay, there's like a bunch of other kinks, obviously. Kinks. And each one is graded out of 100%. So, like, I had a 90% out of 100% Dom, and a 1% out of 100% sub. And there were, like, other stuff. There's other stuff, too. What's the name of the test? It's just BDSM test. Okay. Oh my god. Sorry. Yep. Hi, it's been a while. Hey there, Jenna. It has been a while. It's been a while, and I'm probably gonna wrap up the stream soon. So, that's unfortunate, isn't it? If there are any last minute tingle requests, make sure you try to voice your opinion in the chat now for Ultra Peace, because I will be doing speed tingle round. Let's go. Can you say... I don't know if I can. Can I say that? That's... okay, that's where we start to draw the line. Fast tapping. Okay, speed round. Fast tapping. Sing I'm yours. Well, I've been spending way too long checking my tongue in the mirror, bending over backwards just to try to see clearer, but my breath fogs up the glass, and so I drew your face. I laughed. I guess I'd not be saying this. There ain't no better reason to rid yourself of vanities and just go with the seasons. It's what we aim to do. Our name is our virtue, but I won't hesitate no more. no more. It cannot wait. Sky's your own, so please don't, please don't, please don't. There is no need to complicate, 'cause our time is short. This and this and this is our fate. I'm yours. Motorbike ASMR. Ear knobs. Heartbeat, just for like maybe 30 seconds. If I can find it. You should hear it in your left. Turn the music down. Let's go. Alright, everyone. It was another nice night hanging out with all of you. Thank you for those of you who listened to the whole thing, or those of you who listened to my sorry attempt at a fan fiction. Which, again, I don't like calling a fan fiction. It's more of a work of writing than it is a fan fiction. Not like, that's not in like a boisterous or like a big-headed egomaniac thing. That's like I don't like calling it a fan fiction because fan fiction has a raunchy connotation to it, or attached to it. So anyway, if you are getting started with your day, have a good day. And if you are going to sleep, good night. And to everyone, once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.